Hey everyone, welcome back to another video from A Man Talks FPL SC. In today's video, we're going through the Game Week 17 initial thoughts and team selection. It's a quick turnaround, so we have to get straight back into it, but I don't think there's any complaints. More FPL the better. So if you guys enjoyed the video, really appreciate a thumbs up. Do please consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already, but let's get straight into it. So it was a good game week 16 for myself, so I scored 74 points. I think the fact that I didn't have to take a -4 or a -8, I saw lots of people online, with game postponements and injuries, lots of hits being taken. So the fact that I didn't take any, I think really helped me in terms of getting a green arrow this week. Happy obviously with the green arrow, especially as I'm recording on my birthday. I think that's a nice little present that FPL has given me, a nice green arrow just outside the top 10k. The defenders did quite well actually this game week, so Ramsdale starting off at the back there with 11 points, a massive score for him. Something I talked about in my last video when putting together that wildcard draft, I was kind of making a 50-50 between if I wanted to put in Ramsdale or De Gea. I mean, De Gea did well himself this particular game week, but I mentioned that Ramsdale has got that potential to make saves, and when he does get a clean sheet, he has got that potential to score big, and that's exactly what happened fortunately for this game week. He made 6 saves, I think it was, got the full 3 bonus points as well, combined with the clean sheet. Really happy with that 11-point score from him. He's kind of feeling like a little bit of that Emi Martinez from last season, where he's that keeper who started out at 4.5 million, playing in a decent defense that's probably overperforming in terms of their defensive numbers, and he's saving a lot, so he's getting a lot of bonus points, a lot of save points. So yeah, very happy with Ramsdale. It was a good decision on the wild card. Looking at the back four, so a bit of a mixed bag here. We've got Trent and Cancelo did very well this particular game week. A clean sheet for Liverpool. Trent whipping in crosses, creating chances, making lots of passes, so leading to a high pass completion percentage. It just means he usually mops up the bonus points in a clean sheet for Liverpool. A quick check this morning, so if you add up his clean sheets, his assists and his goals so far this season, he's got 16 returns in 14 games. That's more than 1 return per game that Trent's averaging, so just showing that he is by far the best defender in the FPL. Cancelo looked very, very good for City as well, very creative. I think he created 4 chances, picked up 2 bonus points, and if he didn't get his yellow card, he would have been in line for the 3 bonus points. Unfortunately though, with this yellow card, that is his 5th of the season, so he is going to be sitting out for 1 game this particular game week, and it's a nice matchup against Leeds, so a bit unfortunate, but there's no intention at all to sell him for this game week. We'll just sit him on the bench. The Chelsea double up again this week is not proving to be the most fruitful. I mean, Reece James has fallen off a cliff in the last 4 game weeks. I think he scored 1 point in the last 4 weeks compared to the 4 weeks before that where he scored 53 points. Obviously, I can kind of be a little bit more fortunate in the sense that I had him for those big 53 points that he scored, but he hasn't done very well, especially for new owners. It's very frustrating. He got another yellow card. Chelsea still do have a couple of decent games coming up, but overall their defense is just not looking as good as it was at the beginning of the season. There's a few factors for that. I think they were actually overperforming defensive numbers to begin the season, but Mendy in goal was having a blinder. He was making a lot of good saves, so that was one thing that was leading to them keeping, clean sheets. Also, the injuries that they've got in centre midfield and also to Ben Chilwell is not really helping them structurally. So that's, again, a couple of factors why Chelsea's not being the best defensively, and I think I am more seriously considering moving off the Chelsea double up. If I had to pick between one of Alonso or James, I know Alonso did get the assist, but I think I would probably lean towards dropping Alonso. I've got a lot more value tied up in Reece James, and he's definitely obviously first choice in comparison to Alonso, and so I feel like Alonso, there's maybe a bit more scope for rotation, but I think overall I'm not getting enough points out of the Chelsea double up realistically, so I think I am leaning towards potentially dropping Alonso, but not this particular game week I think, but maybe in the next few weeks in order to create some funds as well. Looking at the midfield, decent returns here from Bernardo. Obviously, it was a pretty fortunate assist for the penalty that Man City scored. I don't really think it was a penalty. It didn't even hit the arm of Moutinho, but I'll take the FPL assist for Bernardo, who was one of my transfers in this particular game week. So 6 points, getting the extra point for a clean sheet as well. He looked very good. Seems like he was playing at times a bit of a false 9 position and played the full 90 minutes as well. So yeah, very happy with him, and I think he should be hopefully more nailed on as well to play against Leeds this game week. Mo Salah again just continues the trend of just not blanking. 8 points from him here. No bonus points actually scoring a goal. The thing is that Mo Salah's game doesn't actually tend to be very conducive to getting bonus points because he takes a lot of shots, so he does have shots that he misses. He does quite often lose possession as well, so those are a couple of factors that don't help in the bonus point system. He's also caught offside quite a few times. Those are all things that do mark you down on the bonus point system. And then when Liverpool get a clean sheet, as we spoke about, we've got Trent, we've got Van Dijk, we've got Robertson. They all do very well on the bonus points. But anyway, I'm not complaining. 8 points for Salah. I did post on my Twitter as well. We've seen 1 blank the entire season. I think it can be a bit boring to perma-captain Salah, but I think we should just enjoy what we're seeing at the moment. We're seeing a man who's on fire, giving us constant FPL points. He's on 160 points now, and we're only going into Game Week 17. Let's see how long it goes for. Diogo Jota, his Liverpool counterpart, not as happy with him this particular game week, and I'll just get into that in a little bit. He came on for only half an hour. There was a bit of doubt around him going into the game. Did decide to play him just because I thought even if he plays like 30, 45 minutes, then there's a good chance for him to get some returns because Liverpool are that good of an attack. And in half an hour, he did register about 0.82 expected goals, but Jota just does his thing where he just tends to kind of miss big chances. And so only the 1 point there for Jota, so not the best outcome. Finally, we got some returns though in the forward. So Emmanuel Dennis got the only goal for Watford and got maximum bonus as well. So 9 points, very happy with that. I did recommend to most people that Josh King was the better option over Dennis, mainly because of his underlying stats. There's no risk of him going to AFCON and he's on penalties. Although in this game, it seemed as though Dennis was being played a lot more centrally and King was actually playing out left and sometimes even dropping to almost like a left wing back position. It was very strange. I have kind of seen them rotate in particular game weeks, but we didn't really see that so much in this match. And very big variance, I guess, for people who have King is that he had a shot, he hit the post, and then soon after they got a corner, and Dennis scored from it as well. The only reason I went for Dennis was that I just wanted to create a little bit more funds for my future moves. And that was when he was around 5.3, 5.4 million. I think he's gone up to like 5.8 million. It's crazy now. But yeah, obviously very happy with the return there. Cristiano Ronaldo was our other transfer in for Harry Kane, and nice to get a goal from our premium striker. I can't remember the last time I got a goal or any kind of attacking return from the premium striker. It was only just the penalty, so it wasn't the best signs in terms of United's overall performance against Norwich. You would think that they would score more than the one goal, but at least we know that Ronaldo's on penalties. That's kind of one of the reasons why you wanted to go for him, and getting the 3 bonus points as well. So again, very happy with the 9 points. Antonio though, another blank. I only was able to catch the highlights of this game, but I did look at his heat map. It looked as though he was playing a little bit more wider, wasn't really in the box so much, so not too many opportunities for Antonio. Burnley away, on paper Burnley looks like a great fixture, but away, it can be a little bit of a tougher match, and he's coming into Arsenal this particular game week. I think we're so far holding Antonio, and in hindsight, I would have sold, obviously a few weeks back when his fixtures got really tough, but I feel like now I'm in there, the fixtures are really good now. I don't think I can sell him, but I don't know if I'd actively go and buy him. I think it's just a case of don't buy, don't sell. So just taking a look at my bench there, that's the one thing I'm a little bit annoyed about this game week. Mbeumo, 9 points on the bench there. Who knew he would get 9 points? I mean, it was a home fixture against Watford. In hindsight, maybe I should have played him over Jota because Jota was a risk, and maybe it was an example where he was coming off the bench and just coming on for a little cameo. The reason I decided to go for Jota, as I mentioned, was that even in half an hour, hopefully he can rack up some points because we have seen him do that in the past. He did register the 0.8 expected goals, but obviously that doesn't translate into real points, and Mbeumo scored the penalty in the last minute, so I was really hoping that Jota didn't come on. So it was an 8-point swing, and if I had just done that switch, I would have been sitting on 82 points, and I probably would have been sitting inside the top 10k, but I really can't be too disappointed overall. It's still a green arrow, and to be honest, it's just nice to know that Mbeumo is on penalties if Tony is not on the field, and so we're probably going to have to play Mbeumo this particular game week as well, given that we have that Cancelo suspension. So let's see how I'm looking to shape up for game week 17. So we're playing in a 3-4-3 formation for game week 17. No Cancelo, as I mentioned, as he's facing a 1-match suspension, so he won't be available for Leeds. So in that case, we're playing Trent, James and Alonso at the back there. All have very good matchups. Newcastle at home for Trent is a fantastic fixture. They looked very poor against Leicester City. So I think a clean sheet is definitely on the cards for Liverpool, and obviously there's always going to be some attacking returns for any player coming up against Newcastle, who defensively have been one of the worst so far in the league. James and Alonso at home to Everton as well. Everton haven't been the best in attack recently. They did score against Palace, who they themselves are a decent defence. So hopefully we can get a clean sheet from the pair of them, although I'm not as hopeful. And as ever, given that this is a midweek game week, I'm a little bit concerned that there might be some rotation, but hopefully there's enough rest that both of these guys can play. Just also looking at the back there, we've got Ramsdale at home to West Ham. This is actually a stat I found from @ShiverFPL. I'll put his link in the description below. It seems as though West Ham are a team that actually score better against top opposition than they have against kind of the weaker opposition so far this season. That could be due in part to them being a pretty good counter-attacking team. So, if they've got less possession, they typically might do better compared to when they're holding more of the ball. So I'm not as confident with a clean sheet from Ramsdale, but we've seen him in the past get 10 points against Leicester, who was also a decent opposition. So Ramsdale not going anywhere. Looking at the midfield, I'm quite happy with the majority of it. So we've got Bernardo Silva at home to Leeds, and then we've got Salah, who's got the captaincy, and then Jota at home to Newcastle. So I think those three have got prime fixtures all at home. So very happy with those three, and I think they all should be locked on for minutes. Salah maybe because he hasn't got a rest yet, but it's at home to Newcastle. Honestly, even if he only plays like half an hour, I still don't see myself trusting anyone else in my team with the armband. So Salah's going to have the captaincy, and his effective ownership is probably going to be above 200%. I'm sure there's going to be people out there who are even thinking about triple captaining Salah because it's Newcastle, basically. So I think there's a lot of points potential there for him. We are going to be playing Mbeumo at home to Manchester United. I did think about potentially playing Livramento, who's got a decent fixture away to Crystal Palace, but watching the Manchester United highlights, they did give quite a few chances up for Norwich. So Norwich, due to their own fault in terms of not being able to finish properly, weren't able to score, but David De Gea also did make quite a few good saves, kind of bailing out the United defence. I don't think they looked the best at the back. They've had 2 clean sheets now, but I wasn't that convinced with this particular match. So I'm happy enough to play Mbeumo, who, if Tony doesn't play against Manchester United, we know that Mbeumo is on penalties, so who knows. I'll favour the attacker in this case. He is playing at home at least, and so I'm not really hoping for much, but the fact that he's got 2 attacking returns in the last 2 games, fingers crossed. Let's see if he can get us something this particular game week. And then looking at the forwards, 2 of them I'm pretty happy with in terms of Ronaldo and Dennis, who Dennis has got away to Burnley and Ronaldo is away to Brentford, so 2 good matchups there. Antonio away to Arsenal, not the best fixture on paper, but as I mentioned, West Ham do seem to do better against top opposition, so Antonio will play. I don't really have any other options on the bench. I mean, Brownhill is at home to Watford, but I'm not really going to be trusting him even over an Antonio. So that's probably how the team is going to look for this game week. I've got 1 free transfer and I've got 0.5 million in the bank. Now, in terms of any kind of key transfer targets, I think really it's probably going to be in midfield. There's a few good midfield options. I've been looking to upgrade Mbeumo for the past few weeks. Gallagher obviously scored a brace against Everton. They actually have pretty decent short-term fixtures as well. And then you've got other targets like Jared Bowen, maybe even a Manchester City midfielder like Phil Foden. So Phil Foden, he came on for half an hour and looked actually quite good in that game against Wolves, so he's definitely someone who's in my thoughts as well. So basically, I think midfield is where I want to make an upgrade, and basically it would be from Mbeumo. I don't think I'll be looking to change my front 3 pending any kind of COVID issues, because it does seem like United do have some COVID issues, but again, I'm going to have to wait until we get further news on that one. And with only 0.5 million in the bank from Mbeumo, I can't really get to anyone that I would really target in terms of like a Gallagher or above. I could maybe stretch to like a John McGinn. I have honestly thought about John McGinn from Aston Villa. He's 5.8 million. He does take some set pieces, and Aston Villa are going into a decent run of games. So I have thought about that for this particular game week, but I feel like I'd be maybe forcing that move just to try to get someone with a better fixture for this game week. I think what's going to help is that if I can roll the free transfer for this week, I'll have 2 free transfers going into game week 18. That's when Chelsea do face Wolves away, and that's maybe when I'm looking at an opportunity to take the money out of Marcos Alonso and then use that money to upgrade Mbeumo. I'll have another extra week's worth of information to be able to maybe make a better decision on what midfielder I do want. So that's what I'm looking to do this game week. Roll the free transfer. It's a bit boring, I know, but with the 2 free transfers, we can probably shape up the team a little bit better moving forward. So what I'll do, I'll just quickly jump onto the main FPL page and just show you what my current thoughts are in terms of maybe the transfer targets. So here's my team on the main FPL page. As you can see, I think Mbeumo moving forward is probably not going to be the best option. I mean, the Brentford attack hasn't looked the best, and they only just got that last-minute penalty against Watford for the win, and Watford had not been the best defence either. And so definitely Mbeumo, I think I'm going to want to upgrade. There's too many other good options in midfield. He does have some tougher fixtures now moving forward. I mean, he does have Southampton away in 18, which is not maybe the worst fixture on paper because Southampton are without their first and second choice goalkeeper. But you can see that the fixtures definitely do toughen up. So Brighton, Man City, Villa, who look like a pretty decent defence now, Liverpool, Wolves, Man City again. I think Mbeumo is definitely on the chopping block. He'll get this particular game week against Manchester United, but I think I'm happy to move him on even in game week 18 because there's a lot of good targets that I'm looking to go for. So as you can see, with that money in the bank, I've got 6 mil to play with if I wanted to get an Mbeumo replacement. The problem is with a max cost of 6 mil, there's not really many players that I can actually opt for. You can see just on my right hand side there, I've sorted the midfielders by total points with a max cost of 6.1 million. So Gallagher shot right up to the top there after his brace against Everton. He's got some pretty decent fixtures moving forward, so Gallagher's definitely still in my thoughts. It seems as though quite a few people were actually looking to sell him recently because he did have quite a few games where he blanked, and he's kind of had this trend already so far this season. So he scored the 15 just the most recent game week, but then he had 2, 1, 2, 5 before that, but he had 2 big double-digit returns before that. But before his 2 double-digit returns, he went 2, 2, 2, 4, 2. He just seems like he goes on a run of blanks, and then he entices everyone back in with another double-digit return. But he is playing more advanced, at least he did against Everton, because Will Hughes was actually being played as a CDM. So Gallagher was moving forward. I think he actually had the most shots in this particular game week. And you can see the fixtures for Crystal Palace, even for a long term, are pretty good. You know, he's got Southampton this game week. Even if I wanted to get him in game week 18, he's got Watford, then he's got Tottenham, Norwich, West Ham, Brighton, Liverpool. Okay, you could argue from around game week 21, it's a little bit tougher, but that short spell of Watford, Tottenham, Norwich is not the worst. So he's definitely someone who's in my thoughts. Smith Rowe is always someone who's in my thoughts because I'm an Arsenal fan and I still have I mean, a bit of affiliation because I had him at the beginning of the season. He's someone I've thought about, but he's currently injured, so at the moment I'm not considering him that strongly. Ben Rama as well, he's prone to a bit of rotation, and he probably is going to go away on AFCON duty as well. So I haven't been thinking about Ben Rama. Demarai Gray I have thought about, or any kind of budget Everton midfielder. You could include Doucouré. They're also players that I'm thinking about because Everton do go into a nice run of fixtures from game week 18 as well. So that makes maybe a good switch over from Mbeumo. So you can see they've got Chelsea this game week, so pretty tough match. Leicester have not been the best defensively. Then you can see it's Burnley, Newcastle, Brighton, Norwich, Aston Villa, Newcastle, Leeds, Southampton. It's quite a nice run for the long term. And Gray, even though he has been overperforming on his underlying statistics, he does pass quite well on my eye test at least. He did recently get a goal against Arsenal, and it was a wonder goal as well. And you can see he started the season very strongly as well. So he's someone who's in my thoughts. I mean, it might take me a little bit more time to have faith in the Everton attack. He's someone I'm thinking about as well. Otherwise, looking down that list, Henderson and Jorginho, probably wouldn't be looking at them too seriously because Chelsea's fixtures do toughen up moving forward, which is another actual reason why I want to maybe get rid of Alonso. So from game week 18, it's Wolves, Villa, Brighton, Liverpool, Man City, Tottenham, and then 2 blank game weeks. So Chelsea, I think I'm definitely looking to maybe get away from them just a little bit. So that I probably wouldn't factor Jorginho, and the only reason he gets points really is because of penalties. I'll quickly highlight John McGinn there. He is passing up on that list, so I mean, I know it might sound crazy that I was considering him, but I'm always based around fixtures, and Villa do have some very nice fixtures. The fact that I've got Antonio, I don't think I'll be looking to switch to Watkins, so if maybe I did want to get some kind of Villa coverage, maybe John McGinn at 5.8 million, he could be an option. I probably need to do a little bit more analysis in terms of his underlying stats, but he is on some set pieces. And as you can see, a very nice run of games there for Villa, Norwich, Burnley, then Chelsea, which is a little bit tougher, you could argue, although Chelsea have been quite leaky at the back recently. Then you've got Leeds, Brentford, United, Everton, Leeds, Newcastle. Anyway, the run goes on for quite a while, so even he's someone who I've thought about as well. But because I'm not entirely certain on which one of those ones I want to go for, and maybe say I do want to actually maybe stretch up to a Jared Bowen, who's 6.5 million, I wouldn't be able to fund it in the one move. I'd have to take a hit this week. So instead what I'm looking to do is probably take the money out of Alonso, and then I can drop down to some defender who's 5 million or less, and they'll give me enough money to get an upgrade to Mbeumo. So that's my current thinking on moves moving forward. So it would probably be rolling the free transfer in game week 17, and then in game week 18 using the 2 moves to either maybe, I could even just do Mbeumo to one of those cheaper midfielders and then roll the second free transfer, or I can, if I want to go for someone who's a little bit more expensive, take the money out of Alonso and then upgrade Mbeumo. I'm just not quite sure yet on which player I want to go for, so I know it's a little bit open-ended, but I'm probably going to have to do a little bit more analysis, but I'll post on Twitter definitely what my team is looking like before every deadline, so do follow me on Twitter. I'll put a link in the description below. But let's say for demonstration purposes, maybe I decide to go for Jared Bowen because he's posted a lot of good underlying stats, and he was on set pieces, and he did create a couple of nice chances actually in that game against Burnley, so Bowen might be someone who I go for. And as you can see, that would leave 5.1 million in the bank. So in game week 18, what I'd be able to do is to take some money out of Alonso. I have even thought about Villa defenders. So as I mentioned, Aston Villa might be a team I want to get some coverage. I could get someone like Matty Cash. Otherwise, I could drop down all the way to like a Dalot from Manchester United. Or someone I have thought about as well is also Ben Davies from Spurs. So we still don't quite know what the COVID situation is at Spurs, but Davies is someone I thought about. Even in game week 18, I know I'd be bringing him in for Liverpool, but they've still got some nice long-term fixtures there as well. You've got Crystal Palace, Southampton, Watford, Arsenal, Chelsea, Southampton again, and then Wolves. But one other reason why I might want to bring in Ben Davies in game week 18 as well is that with all their fixture delays, there might be some double game weeks creeping in there. So I have thought about maybe if I go for a cheaper option in Ben Davies to take some money out, he could be a nice placeholder for future double game weeks. So that's one thing I've thought about as well. So as you can see, very, very undecided on who I'd want to bring in for Alonso, but we can leave that decision for game week 18. So that's it, guys. That is my game week 17 initial thoughts and team selection. Just noting as well, I'm going to be away for a few days, so it might be very hard for me to actually put out a game week 18 video, but that's kind of why I wanted to make the video go a little bit longer and just get into my thoughts for game week 18, just in case I'm not able to put that video together. I'll try my best, but otherwise I'll definitely post on my YouTube page and also on Twitter what my team for game week 18 looks like as well. But very likely it's probably going to be an Alonso downgrade and an Mbeumo upgrade, or some kind of change here or there. And hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, really appreciate a thumbs up as it helps me out in the YouTube algorithm. Do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you do enjoy my content, but I'll see you all in the next video.